Hop off Depot, do the right thing, and visit coin.com.
Can they convince their brother to dump his fiancée? All new Dr. Phil.
Good morning to our viewers in the West. It is Friday, November 22nd, 2013. Welcome to CBS This Morning. Worldwide tributes. 50 years after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, CBS News coverage from Walter Cronkite's first bulletin to Bob Schieffer at Dealey Plaza. Plus, how JFK's family and friends are remembering.
Historic change in the Senate. Will Democrats regret invoking the nuclear option?
Plus, the designer behind the iPhone and the iPad tells us about his new collaboration with rock star Bono.
But we begin this morning with a look at today's eye-opener, Your World in 90 Seconds.
The flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago.
America remembers a dark day in Dallas.
50 years ago, the nation lost its 35th president when John F. Kennedy was struck down by an assassin's bullet.
Thousands will visit the place where it all happened, Dealey Plaza in Dallas.
Wild weather in all forms across the country.
In Southern California, intense rainfall caused flash flooding for miles.
Several people were caught off guard and were airlifted to safety.
This was the scene in the Denver suburbs.
Wind gusts of up to 80 miles per hour slammed central Utah. Really an amazing day. History being made once again on Wall Street.
The Dow closing above 16,000 for the first time ever.
Leader Reid, won't this come back to bite you when you're in the minority?
Democrats unleashed what has been dubbed the nuclear option.
Now it only takes a simple majority vote to break a filibuster on executive and judicial nominees.
To my friends on the other side of the aisle, you'll regret this, and you may regret it a lot sooner than you think.
Air travel may be getting a lot noisier. The FCC said it's considering lifting its ban on phone calls in flight.
Surveillance video from a gas station in Illinois shows that tornado blowing a house away in just a matter of seconds.
All that?
I feel like this is a spirited and informational interview. In many ways, I remind me of a young Charlie Rose.
Touchdown, New Orleans. Graham twists the goalpost a little bit. This guy's the MVP right now. He's got to get out there with the longest level I've ever seen.
For the second time this week, a fan hits from half court for $20,000. This contest will be discontinued.
And all that matters.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
On CBS This Morning.
This is the way it has to be. The Senate has changed.
They used the nuclear option. That'll give Congress radiation burns. Too late!
This morning's eye-opener is presented by Toyota. Let's go places.
Welcome to CBS This Morning. Good morning, Nora. Historic day.
Hey, good morning to you, Charlie. It is indeed.
We begin with that memory. 50 years ago today, a shocking, unthinkable crime stunned America and the world. This morning, we remember President John F. Kennedy and his wife Jackie were riding in a motorcade through downtown Dallas on November 22nd, 1963. Thousands of people lined the streets watching and cheering. Then a sniper fired 3 shots, killing the president.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago.
The city of Dallas will honor President Kennedy this morning at Dealey Plaza, the scene of the assassination. Bells will ring just before 10:30 Pacific time, the moment the shots were fired, followed by a moment of silence.
There were ceremonies this morning at Arlington National Cemetery where an eternal flame marks President Kennedy's final resting place. Jean Kennedy Smith, the president's last surviving sibling, laid a wreath at his gravesite.
And in Boston, the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library will hold a moment of silence at the hour when the president's death was announced half a century ago.
Other tributes are being held around the world. Just outside London this morning, JFK's granddaughter, Tatiana Schlossberg, and other dignitaries planted an oak tree at the official British memorial to President Kennedy.
And we will remember President John F. Kennedy throughout the morning. Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer is reporting from Dallas. He was also there 50 years ago covering the assassination.
That historic day was also a milestone for television news. We will show you CBS News' live coverage of the story as it happened.
And presidential historian Douglas Brinkley will be in Studio 57, and he'll talk about the continuing public fascination with President Kennedy, his family, and his place in history. All of that is ahead right here on CBS This Morning. Extreme weather turns deadly in California. 2 people were killed after strong winds hit Oakland. 1 man was electrocuted by a power line. Winter weather advisories are posted from the southwest to the plains. In San Diego, drivers had to be rescued as rain flooded streets. A helicopter crew saved at least 5 people from the Santa Ana River in Colton near San Bernardino. And it's not just California. In Centerville, Utah, north of Salt Lake City, a dramatic show as high winds blew out power lines. Gusts hit near 80 miles an hour. Meteorologist Megan Glaros of our Chicago station, WBBM, is tracking it all.
Good morning, Charlie and Nora. Talking about a storm system moving through the center part of the country this morning that will bring rain and snow to cities like Chicago. But in the center part of the country, Oklahoma, Texas, talking about freezing rain today, snow in the mountains of New Mexico and into Colorado. It's ice, though, anywhere from St. Louis down through El Paso, causing travel difficulties this morning. But as much as 6 to 12 inches of snow will fall from just south of Denver to northern parts of New Mexico. So snow will be the main issue for those folks through the weekend. Weekend for much of the country will hold some very cold temperatures. Cities like Chicago will be 20 degrees below norm. Charlie, Nora?
Megan, thank you. And the filibuster has played a huge role in the history of the Senate. This morning, that power of open-ended debate has been dramatically cut back.
Senate Democrats voted yesterday to change the rule that allowed Republicans to block presidential appointments. Senators will only be allowed to filibuster Supreme Court nominations. Nancy Cordes is on Capitol Hill. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning to you and to our viewers out west. The rule they changed has been around for 96 years. Democrats argue Republicans were abusing it, so they had no choice, while Republicans call this a power grab that robs the minority of one of its few true pieces of leverage. All but 3 Democrats voted to clip the minority's power, lowering the hurdle for confirming presidential appointees from 60 votes to a simple majority of 51 votes. That means Republicans can no longer block nominees if they don't like them or to extract unrelated concessions.
What has gone on is absolutely unfair and wrong, and I'm glad we changed it.
Half of all the filibusters against presidential nominations in U.S. history have involved Mr. Obama's nominees. 76 presidential nominees are awaiting confirmation for an average of 147 days. Republicans recently blocked 3 of the president's nominees to the powerful U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in D.C. But Republicans say Democrats are only taking this step now because they're trying to divert attention from Obamacare's problems.
Say to my friends on the other side of the aisle, you'll regret this, and you may regret it a lot sooner than you think.
That's the same argument then Senator Barack Obama made in 2005 when Republicans were in charge and considering the same move.
I think the loss will be enormous and one that all parties involved will come to regret.
On Thursday, he said times have changed.
Today's pattern of obstruction, it just isn't normal. It's not what our founders envisioned.
Republican Senator John McCain led a bipartisan effort to head off the nuclear option in July. He was not successful this time. Do you think the Senate can ever go back from this?
I would be surprised because if we got the majority in 2015, I think there would be people who would be not want to reverse it.
Democrats say this move will ease gridlock because they'll be able to get these nominees through much more quickly. But Republicans say it's only going to increase mistrust on all the other issues. Either way, no one's getting confirmed over the next 2 weeks, Nora and Charlie, because the Senate has just gone on a long Thanksgiving recess.
Nancy, thank you. The Dow opened about 40 minutes ago in record territory. For the first time, the Dow Jones Industrial Average started the day above 16,000. It picked up 109 points Thursday to close at 16,010. 2013 is a good year for investors. The Dow has gained 22%. The NASDAQ is up 31%. And the S&P 500 has added almost 26%.
A notorious murder case from the 1970s is taking a new turn. Michael Skakel is free on bail this morning after spending 11 years in prison. Robert F. Kennedy's nephew has insisted for decades that he did not kill a teenage neighbor. 48 Hours correspondent Troy Roberts has covered this case for years. Troy, good morning.
Good morning, Nora. It was a trial that made headlines. A Kennedy cousin convicted of a brutal murder. Then last month, a Connecticut judge threw out that conviction. Yesterday, he found out he could await his new trial from outside prison walls.
This is Michael Skakel as a free man for the first time in 11 years. On Thursday, a Connecticut judge set Skakel's bond at $1.2 million. As he exited the courtroom, he gestured to his family, who burst into applause. Skakel's attorney, Hubert Santos, saw today's decision as righting at least one wrong from the past.
There were two tragedies that occurred in Greenwich, Connecticut in 1975. The first was, of course, the murder of Martha Moxley. The second great tragedy occurred in a courthouse in Norwalk, Connecticut in 2002 when Michael was convicted of the murder of Martha Moxley.
In 2002, Skakel was sentenced to 20 years to life in prison for the murder of Martha Moxley. In 1975, she was found beaten to death under a tree in her suburban Connecticut backyard. Skakel and Moxley had been neighbors. Both were 15 years old at the time. Through the years, Skakel, now 53 years old, maintained his innocence.
I did not commit this crime.
As did his family. Skakel is the nephew of Ethel Kennedy, and the Kennedys rallied to his defense. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is Skakel's cousin.
He served in prison for a decade for a crime that he didn't commit.
Last month, a judge agreed with Skakel that he did not receive an adequate defense from his trial lawyer, Mickey Sherman. But outside the courthouse on Thursday, dismay from the family of Martha Moxley. Her mother, Dorothy, was a constant presence at Skakel's hearings.
I'm disappointed, but this is life, so.
And Martha's brother, John Moxley, says that won't change anytime soon.
We're not going away. Yeah, we think the court's got it right the first time, and we're not going away.
As part of the conditions of his bail, Michael Skakel cannot leave the state without permission and must wear a tracking device. Now he'll wait news of his retrial. Charlie, Nora.
Thank you, Troy. More changes could be coming to your airline flight. Next month, the government will consider letting travelers talk on their cell phones while in the air. The use of mobile phones would be allowed once a plane reaches 10,000 feet, but not during takeoff or landing. CBS News travel editor Peter Greenberg is with us. Peter, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie.
So tell us what this means.
Well, what it means is on December 12th, the FCC will now consider this rule, in fact, change it. And what it will mean, as you just said, above 10,000 feet, people can make cell phone calls if the airline wants to be a part of this deal. And if the airline does want to be a part of it, they'd have to install a cell phone base station on the plane, because right now, technically, you really can't get a signal from your own cell phone that will be effective below 10,000 feet or even above 10,000 feet.
Sounds like a good idea for customers, you know, if you could make a call from a plane, but apparently the Association of Flight Attendants, they put out a statement saying, in far too many operational scenarios, passengers making phone calls could extend beyond a mere nuisance, creating negative effects on aviation safety and security that are great and far too risky. You think that's true?
Well, you know, this is not really a technical issue because the technology is already there. It's been there for quite some time. We've had earphones on planes before. It's a social issue. You have so much ambient noise inside the cabin of a plane that for you to actually have a reasonably decent conversation with somebody, you almost have to yell. Now, do you really want that happening with a person sitting next to you? Do the flight attendants want in-flight fights? I don't think so.
Yeah, loud talkers.
Yeah.
In terms of cost, will it make any difference in cost?
Well, it's all about revenue. Remember, if you have to put that base station on the plane, the airline's going to want revenue from that.
Right.
So you have roaming charges on the ground. Just imagine what your roaming charges could be in the air. Now, some airlines have already said they're going to do it, or at least they're going to consider it if the FCC does remove the rule. JetBlue said they'd entertain the idea of it. Delta Airlines, on their hand, said absolutely no way. Our customer feedback is so overwhelmingly negative. We don't care what the FCC says. We're going to continue the policy of not allowing conversation.